Hi everyone, Donna McElvaney here, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm not planned pulling in this video. Instead, I'm going to be doing knitting designed for crocheters. So those of us who crochet first, we learned how to crochet. We have a certain technique that we do with crocheting, and transitioning over to knitting can be difficult. You develop certain speed and certain things with that you want to continue with. The way that you hold your yarn and stuff is completely different from what I've seen with knitting. So like typically with crocheting, I loop my yarn around. Different people hold it different ways, and that's fine. However, whatever way that you hold your yarn, that's the way that you should go, whatever way that you're comfortable with. So as I'm crocheting, kind of go up, spin it around, and I crochet. This is how I crochet, with yarn over here, my hook over here. I control my tension, and I go fairly fast. And that's the way that I want to go with knitting. Alright, so trying to watch other videos, people teaching how to knit and stuff. It just seems so foreign to me to, loop the thread around with this hand and not hold it in this hand. So I've taught myself how to do it my way. So kind of a crocheter's way of knitting. All right, so what I've done here, whenever I'm teaching myself how to do something, a new stitch, typically I do it in cotton yarn, and I just make a washcloth out of it. A friend of mine taught me that, Brandy Bruno. She goes to my church, and she does some crochet classes too, and that's what she does. She uses cotton thread to learn a new stitch, and then she makes it into a wash rag. That way she still has it. She didn't have to frog it, take it apart, use it for something else unless she wants to. So whenever I'm practicing a new stitch, so this is like a basket weave that I have knitted. I've made it into a washcloth. So as I was trying to teach myself how to knit and how to purl, did it on this one. So this here was my practice one, and down here I messed up some. I didn't get it right until I got up here, and then I started getting it right again. And then I thought, well, you know what, doing a basket weave would be cool. So I did. So the next one I did, I made it into a basket weave, and it's knitting and purling back and forth, which is very similar to front post double crochet, back post double crochet to do this pattern. Basket weave, yes, sorry. Had a little bit of brain error going on there. All right, so this here is really cool. And yeah, it's all striped out, like it's almost spooling. But this is something that I had knitted, and I wanted to try to keep it striping out that way, but it started going awry here, and I tried to go back and loosen it up and stuff to make it work like you would do with crocheting, but it just didn't work for me, so I just kept on going with it. And so the first thing that I'm going to demonstrate for you guys is actually how I hold it, how I've taught myself how to do this. I will show how to cast on and things such as that. I had started this video earlier and I got interrupted, so that's why I'm kind of like in the middle of this row here, which is a great demonstration because it's like, okay, I put it down now, so where do I start here? Am I going this way, or am I going this way? Like, which way am I going? So this way here is the way that I've already gone. So the thread coming off of this, what is this? It's not a hook. Of this side of this needle is on this side. Yeah, as you can tell, I don't know a whole great lot about knitting, but I have overcome and adapted. Alright, so with this side, what I do is, just like crocheting, I hold my yarn over on this side. And the quickest, easiest way stitch that I have taught myself how to do is to go in backwards to this one here. So I'm going into the back side of this loop. I kind of hold it in place here, pulling my yarn over and just pulling it through and pulling it off. And I'm just demonstrating here like how quickly I am able to go with it, because with crocheting, whenever you've developed your crochet technique, you can go pretty quick at it, whatever speed you're wanting to, but then whenever you switch over to knitting and you realize how slow it is, you can train yourself how to do it quicker, how to hold it like you would if you're crocheting. This is the way that I hold mine. And then you can develop your own technique. You don't have to do it exactly the way that they do it on the videos. The true knitters, the ones who, you know, knitting is their first love and stuff, that's what they love to do. You can teach yourself how to do it your style and your way, and then it makes it more enjoyable whenever you can do it the way that you like to do it. So just keep on going here. These are circular knitting needles. They have this this plastic hoop thing that connects the two of them, which makes it nice whenever you do have a long project like this. So here I'm just showing how I've developed my technique, how I go quicker. I've been told that this is not, that I'm not doing the knit stitch here, that this is actually purling. So I'm like, okay, well, if I have taught myself knitting and it's backwards, then I need to teach myself how to purl backwards. All right, so whenever you do this, the same stitch back and forth, it creates this design and this pattern on the front and the back, and I believe this is called the garter stitch. Could be wrong on that, but I think it's called the garter stitch whenever it makes this pattern, and you just do this back and forth on it. And what I love about knitting is that it's so stretchy. I'll show you here in a second. I just want to finish up this row here. Since I'm this close to being done with it, they just keep packing on here and just slide them on down. And if you happen to like lose one like that, then you just carefully pick it back up and put it right back on your hook. And just continue to knit on. It's nice and stretchy. I really like it. Get to the end. See, I'm holding this on here so I don't lose it. Holding it on here so I don't lose it. There we go. So with knitting, it's so nice and stretchy and soft, and you can use a whole lot more. You get a whole lot more out of one skein of knitting than you would if you were crocheting. Okay, so I am going to show how to cast on. So I've grabbed some other sizes here that I've got. I haven't even opened this one yet. This is a nice big thick size. I also have, here's another smaller size, and these are circulars. You can see that they're kind of angled and such. These are circulars. These are straight ones, and they're kind of bulky because you can see how long they are, and it makes it kind of difficult to work with because you got all this over here. So I really don't recommend these great big long ones. If you have a big long project to do, just get the circulars. They're way easier. And these, I believe these are bamboo. Yep, these are bamboo ones. And these are great. My husband picked these up for me. They were on clearance for 75 cents. Like, how great is that? And these are 6.5 millimeter. This one is 6 millimeter. I have some bigger ones that are like 9 millimeter, which these are 9 millimeter. I have some bamboo ones that are this size as well. Sorry, that's like glaring. Nice big thick. I really like that. It works really great for the bigger thick yarn too. I made some baby booties for the first time ever knitting baby booties, and I used the real thick ones, and I made a knitted hat and a knitted baby bloomers. Oh my gosh. So I have a grandbaby girl that is coming, And so first time ever knitting anything besides washcloth and a blanket and a scarf. And I got the idea in my head to do bloomers, and it worked well. And, okay, so here we're going to cast on. So you just yeah, this kind of floppy. All right, so in casting on, you do the same thing. You want to make a slip knot the same way that I did one with crocheting, as I do like that. And then I kind of pull this out. It's a little bit difficult whenever you don't have a hook. So you just make a slip knot and put it on however you do. Actually, I'm supposed to leave that longer. Leave a long tail. I don't know why. Well, if you're wanting to close something off, like with booties and stuff, you want a long tail because you wind up using that to sew up like one end of the baby booty. You leave a long tail whenever you're making the top part of the hat. So just different things. Okay. All right, I'm going to do this easy cast on method. I don't do the long tail method, which is something like this. I don't do that. I'm just going to do an easy one, the one that I do. So I kind of hold it like this, loop up here, and pull through like that. So I just go over, and I'm just getting it onto my knitting needle. I actually learned this out of a book, out of one of those old books that have like those really cool diagrams on them. So you just go on, you just keep on casting these on. So I've just grabbed it like this. You just do a cast on. Nice and simple. Cast on for crocheters here. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Get this at a different angle so you can still see it. 18, 19, and 20. Alright, so we'll do 20. So then I pull out my other needle here. I pull this to the back like that. I'm going to loop it around like I do, because that's my style of how I like to hold my yarn with crocheting. And then I go to the back because it's quicker and easier for me to handle my yarn. So be careful with this first one. You don't want them on there super tight, but you want them on there snug. Alright, and so then we just pull that off. So insert it into the back. Oh, sorry. They're kind of sliding off a little bit, so I got to push that back on. So I lost this one. This one came off before I was able to actually knit it. So I'm going to put it back on like that. So go through it just like that. Yarn it over and pull through. I'm holding it on with this finger, holding it on with this finger, and taking it off. As with anything, whenever you first begin to do something, you're going to be slow at it until you develop your technique, until you're able to do it quicker. These like to slide around here. Trying to keep them in control here. Alright, pull it over. That one's wanting to get away from me too. And I'm trying to do it relatively slowly here so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm doing just what I did on the blanket. It's just the first row after getting the cast on. And I've seen some, and I've knitted some things too, where I did the cast on and then I knitted it, but the row wound up curling up really bad. and I don't know why. So they're like, okay, well, make your cast on like this so that it doesn't curl up, type of thing. But like, this has been washed, so that's why that's kind of rolly. This one's been washed too and stuff, and it's been used to wash dishes. But as you can see, it didn't roll up at all on either part of it. And this is all that I'm doing with it as far as cast on goes. That got all up in my way. That's one thing about those circulars. Those things like to get in the way. Alright, keep this on. So the thread is on this side, so I'm working over to this direction. I did that one time. I didn't know which way I was going, and I wound up going back over the top of what I had done. You know, the tail end of that circular is going all up in the way again. So I just keep on going across these here. I'll do that a bit. Alright, so my cast on is round about minute marker number, around 11 minutes into the video is where I do the cast on. Alright, and then the last one here, do the same thing. Alright. Oh, let go of that thing. So I can maybe get it to go. Maybe get it to behave. It's all wiry. It's almost like fishing wire, only thicker. Alright, so I'm going to come back. And so the first row looks really, really cool here. See if I can get it to zoom in a little bit there. And going to go back and do the exact same thing. And this just creates this garter stitch. It's nice and simple. Whenever you develop this technique and you can get it down, you can go quicker. Oops, so I lost it. So stick it back on there. Don't get it mixed up with the tail there. Let's keep on going here. There we go. And the further along you get in it, the easier it is to handle. Just like with crocheting, that first row, the first couple of rows with crochet are the most difficult to get because you've got this much here that you're working with and trying to create something out of that. So once you get past your first few rows, it'll go a lot quicker. Over exaggerate there a little bit. Okay. And you just turn and just keep going. So the way that I learned also to do the purling, backwards purling, is I bring this to the front and then I get my needle to quit being in the way. I may switch this. Okay, there. Alright, come to the front and I go in this way, loop it like this. How do I do this? Here, I hadn't practiced this in a minute. Do I bring it down this way? And pull it through. Come to the front. this way and pull it through. So this is the backwards way that I purl. This might actually be knitting, but it takes me longer to do it than it does the back way. So I do the back behind way more than I do this one. So those are the two stitches. You've got the one that goes in front and you've got the one that goes behind. Whichever one that you choose to do, whichever one is easiest for you, that's one I make most of my projects with because it's nice and easy. So if you do one row this way and then you flip it and you do the next row with the opposite stitch, that is called something else. Can't even think of it right now. Because I am a crocheter that also knits. I'm not a knitter that crochets. I am a crocheter that knits. So I don't know all of the names. I don't know how to do cables yet. I do have the little cable thingies, whatever they're called. I have some of those ready for whenever I decide to teach myself how to do that, how to do cables. There's that. And then if I flip it now and go back to the previous way of knitting, and where I'm doing the back one, since that one there was the front one, and now if I do the back one here, it's going to make a completely different design. So just kind of a rough introduction of crocheting for knitters. Nope. A rough introduction for knitting for crocheters, because we like to do things our certain way. Oh, and I lost it. All right. I keep it close to my lap so I can wedge it back on if I need to. Use my leg for leverage there. So knitting for crocheters. I know I'm not the best teacher for knitting, but if you're like me and you have like no clue what you're doing with it, then you just adapt and overcome. You adapt knitting to the way that you crochet, because that's the way that you are comfortable with holding your stuff. So you just do it the way that you're best at doing it, and the way that you can develop your own speed and develop your own technique of doing it. And then you'll see that you can get faster, get more efficient with it, get good with your tension and stuff. Just like crocheting is something that you just have to develop. Everybody develops their own style of crochet, what works best for them, and that's the same thing with knitting. I've seen most everybody do knitting the exact same way, and that way just isn't for me. So I decided to do it this way. There may be other people who knit like I do. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen a video on it yet. So I just chose to demonstrate it for you guys. So this side looks like this, and the other side looks flat. And oh, this might actually make it roll if you do the two different ones. Maybe. I'm going to do one more row and let's see how this happens. See what happens. Alright, so this one here, since I did with the back, now I'm going to do it to the front. So I'm guessing that this is actually the knit stitch here, and the back row what I was doing was actually purling. Oh, that one didn't go well. I didn't grab all of that. Okay, that's better. Since I don't do this one here very quick, I don't do it as often. I developed the other way first, and then I developed this way. So it's still something that I need to work on and getting more efficient with it. I haven't been knitting very long. But it is a lot of fun, and I love making the stretchy things. So that's why I've adapted over to knitting for like the baby hats, because they're stretchier. I like them better than a crocheted baby hat. And I was able to make bloomers, also called a diaper cover, but they're so stinking cute. And I made a what's it, big old bow for the butt. Oh my gosh, absolutely adorable. So I have 4 grandsons, and this will be my first grandbaby girl. So of course I had to do something special for her. So she's the first of my grandbabies that have gotten anything knitted from me. So see, I'm slower with this front part here. Trying to keep this over here on the back. All right, so I figured, you know what, we can just kind of learn together too. Maybe I can help lead the way a little bit, and you guys can learn from me and learn from my mistakes on it, and help yourself to develop your technique, what you like, what you don't like. So that's what that side looks like, and that makes it look like that on that side. And this stitch is called something, but I don't have it right in the forefront of my mind right now, where you do knitting on one side and purling on the other. So this is where you can see that flat side is like that, those flat sides there, and then the other side is like that side. So you just switch back and forth to make the different designs. I did 4 and 4. I did like I would do 4 knit stitches, and then I'd change it around and do 4 purl stitches, and 4 knit and 4 purl, and then I did 4 rows of that, and then I switched it over and started reversing it. I could also do a video on how to actually do the, that's not a waffle, that is a basket weave. I could do a video on that. So if you guys have any suggestions, any type of requests, like I said, I'm not the best knitter, but hey, you know, knitting for crocheters, why not, right? All right, thanks guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks for all your support. God bless to all of y'all. Happy knitting and crocheting and pulling and all that good stuff. Remember, do not take a fluoroquinolone antibiotic, Cipro, Levaquin, Avalox, moxifloxacin, gemafloxacin. There's a whole list of them. It could disable you physically permanently, so it can also kill you. So ask for a different antibiotic. All right guys, thanks. God bless.